kind of the bullshit fights, a la the top 2 fights, or the really good undercard fights, a la Dan Roman, Mirjadon, Akhmadaliev, or do you where do you guys want to start here? Because I already ranted in front of him.
This is gonna make Matt happy, I think. I didn't watch the YouTube fight because I missed the fights live, so I just flew in and then I watched it on the zone, and after I watched the Farmer fight, I'm like, I don't want to watch this YouTube fight, so I just skipped it, which is the beauty of being able to stream things. Like I just didn't watch it, and I went straight to the Andrade fight. So I don't know what happened. I know Paul knocked him out in the second round, but I didn't see any of it.
It doesn't matter.
I don't even remember what Paul brother it was, to tell you the truth. Was it Logan or Jake?
Rue.
Jake.
It was Rue Paul, I think.
That was a good joke, Rob. I'm with my eye right now, but that was really good, Rob.
By the way, Leonard just asked, are we doing Blog Talk right now?
No, we can do Skype. So if you want, put a big bat signal out saying that we will do Skype. I'll put that up right
now. Okay. So yeah, you didn't watch the YouTube fight. That's fair enough.
I watched my boy Emma Williams take care of business. What else was on there? There was a couple of prospects.
Otha Jones, Amanda Serrano.
Yeah.
Anthony Sims Jr. getting his first.
Yeah.
We got to talk about that. We got to talk about that.
Do you guys think he won, or do you think the judges got it right? I mean, I had a.
No, he lost. He lost.
You thought he lost?
He didn't do anything. Look, I'm sorry. I'm not of the Willie Pep mindset that you can not throw a punch an entire round and win the round. That's just not how boxing works. I'm sorry. You have to throw
what if he faint really good? Maybe he fainted really good. Like it was such a good feint, it made him think he was going to get hit. I don't know. Yeah.
Until my grandfather died, right? He swears that Willie won a round without throwing a punch. I'm like, you saw it. He's like, yeah, I listened to it on the radio. I'm like, come on.
How'd you know? Because I listened to it on the radio. Love it. But yeah, that was upset. Yeah, I don't know. Time to shine, but you just you gotta throw punches. You gotta.
Are we getting a Josh Kelly vibe from Anthony Sims Jr. here?
Even that fight, even worse, man.
It wasn't good, bro. Like I thought he won the fight, and it wasn't good. Like there was just, I don't know, there was no pep in his step. There was no it was bad. Like it was just so lethargic and so unmotivated. It's like, and there was no more gears. Like his trainer was telling him in the 5th round, oh, you have to knock him out, like trying to get him to pick up the pace a little bit. And there was just nothing there. Like he tried to pick it up a little bit, and then he just started eating a bunch of shots. It's like, and I had this guy as one of my prospects. I had him in my top. I think I had him at 15 in my top 15. Like I'm like, this guy's good, and it's like that was awful. This is why Matt's right. You don't put prospects in your top 15 because they might do that to you.
Yeah, I mean,
it happens.
I mean, Eddie was interviewed and asked about it. He said like there was no like aggression. There was no. I'm going to get this guy out of here, or I'm going to. I don't know. It's just a strange performance for me. I don't know if there was a hand injury that he kept quiet, that he just didn't want to throw the right hand or something. I don't know. It just seemed odd. It was an odd performance.
I did see a headline from him talking about. I didn't read it because I didn't really care, to be honest. But he alluded to the fact that he wanted to he was close to amputating his finger to keep going in the fight. So I'm assuming there was a hand injury or something.
Right.
Alluding to, but regardless, let's say you injure your left hand or your right hand, you have one other hand to throw, and you didn't throw any hands. You didn't throw a jab, you didn't throw a right, counter. You didn't throw any real shots in any of these rounds. And when he did, it was maybe a single shot, but more than that, it was range finding shots. He never threw anything with any commitment, any real velocity, and he never threw in combination. You can't win a fight by doing that. That's just not how boxing works.
No, I think I had Angulo by about 3 rounds. I think something like that, quite easily.
Okay,
that's how I felt. But
I thought it was one.
I like Anthony Sims a lot. He's from LA. I think he's a smart guy. I interviewed him. I think he's a very, very good person for the sport, good prospect, and I think he's talented. There's a reason why I compared him to Josh Kelly. I don't think these guys are not good prospects. I think there is a lack of game planning. There's a lack of, or maybe not lack of, maybe they just are stagnating to a degree wherever they are, wherever their gym is, wherever their environment is. They're stagnating as a person or a fighter, and they need a new environment. I think Andrade is sort of the main event fighter on this card, a similar guy to that way of a guy that stagnated for large portions of his career. And I think in this fight, he tried to improve in the main event. So we're going to get to that later. But, I think Anthony Sims is talented. He just needs to look at this fight and say, yeah, I didn't have any fire. I didn't have X, Y, Z. I'm going to work on X, Y, and Z for the next 6 months. And that's it. That's all I'm going to work on. And guess what? This trainer or that sparring partner, that wasn't working out for us. So we're switching it up. This girlfriend and me were for fighting the whole time. Guess what? We're breaking up. You're moving out. I'm getting a new girlfriend. Things are switching up. I think sometimes fighters have to do that. And I think Anthony Sims probably needs to start having those inner conversations with himself right now.
Yeah, that's like a couple now where it hasn't. I don't know. He's I think failed to flatter, if you know what I mean. Or to look as good as we think maybe he could be. But yeah, strange performance. Obviously, haven't seen it, but apart from a fan's clip, but Ofer Jones with the, I think, second round stoppage moved on. But yeah, strange that we didn't get some of these fights. Usually they're either streamed on the YouTube channel or but yeah, haven't seen those. They did post the Amanda Serrano fight, but it wasn't actually on the telecast, I don't think.
Oh, it was.
Oh, it was? Oh, okay.
It wasn't live. It was not tape delay, but it was pre-taped, obviously, and they put it on.
Oh, okay. All right. But yeah, that's what I mean. It just wasn't like usual. They seem to show the card from sort of start to finish, right? Like kind of, if not, on the YouTube channel first. But yeah, my thoughts on, where did you start with, Gary? You wanted to talk first?
No, you guys start wherever you want. I didn't.
Well, let's start on the Daniel Roman fight against Mirzadon Akhmadaliev.
Great fight.
First off, I was wrong. I think you two, right? You both.
Yeah, me and Gary.
Akhmadaliev.
Touch me. No, other one. Touch me.
Sad day for the world.
We've just got a good eye for this kind of thing, right, Gary?
Yeah.
I will say this, though. Akhmadaliev is a guy that if you can really start putting combinations on him and have sustained work, he can be beat. He works in spots. He's a guy that's working in bursts of energy, bursts of combinations, and then has long periods of inactivity within rounds. And that's how Roman definitely got back into the fight in the mid-round, started working to the body a lot. But Akhmadaliev, God, that power, the speed, just over the athleticism of his
footwork.
His footwork was great too. And I think he just realized, I'm not going to respect Daniel Roman. I'm not going to give him any respect. I'm not going to give him any edge here. I'm going to walk him down. I'm going to throw my hardest fucking shots all night. And he had a hell of a gas tank to back that up. So, guys, thoughts on Akhmadaliev and Roman?
Yeah, it was a great fight. Really enjoyed it. I don't know. What is he like? Unified champion? Was it 7 fights now? Is that 7 fights? Isn't his 7th fight? Something like that.
Yeah.
Heroes welcome, returning to Uzbekistan. Much deserved. I had it. I think by a couple of rounds, something like that. To Akhmadaliev. I thought Danny Roman did come on in the second half of the fight, but kind of playing catch up constantly, if you know what I mean. So yeah, really good fight. I feel for Danny Roman. I think he's like a good guy. He was a unified champ. Apparently he got a lot of criticism for taking this fight, but he's a champion. He faced his mandatory, and people saying like maybe he could have vacated this one and not had to, but champion's not going to shy away from the challenge, and maybe he felt this guy's 7-0. I'm gonna, it's not an issue. I'm good enough. I'm a champion. So a shout out to him. But yeah, great performance. A bit interesting, the division going forward. But yeah, I just thought it was a really good fight. As we expected and hoped for from obviously this card and other things that were on offer. But this didn't fail to deliver. Agreed.
And Gary, before I jump to you, remember, guys, when you're not talking, please mute yourself because this system right now is trash. So Gary, thoughts on Akhmadaliev beating Daniel Roman, and now is he the best super bantamweight on the planet now? Like, can we anoint him as an 8-0 unified champion? You're the best guy at 122 over Emmanuel Navarrete, Ray Vargas, and others.
He's got the best individual win. Okay, would anyone here pick him to beat? I mean, we all think the judges got it right?
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. But I will say this: I have no issue with people having a Daniel Roman scorecard. I don't have an issue with that. If you have a 7-5 Daniel Roman, I really don't have an issue with that. I don't think it's right, but I don't have an issue with that. But I thought Akhmadaliev won.
I think
that would be a robbery, Derevchenko style.
No,
because Derevchenko won all the rounds in that fight.
All the rounds, every round,
even the one he got knocked down in. I wouldn't pick him to beat Navarrete. Now he's got a better individual win than that. I don't think so. I mean, look, my thoughts on this were a lot like after Vazdik lost to Beterbiev, or whatever we want to call him this week. Like I thought Vazdik did what he had to do. Like I thought Roman fought the way he was supposed to fight. He just can't beat him. Like Akhmadaliev is better. Like if they had a rematch, I don't know what Roman would adjust to fight differently. You know what I'm saying? Like he'd have to box him, but he can't keep him off him. The aggression and the accuracy and the athleticism of Akhmadaliev is really good. Like he's not just a pressure guy. I mean, he is, but there's a lot of skills behind that pressure. Like he does a lot of things really well. I don't think Roman can do anything much differently to beat him the next time.
What about the X factors of the shoulder surgery, the layoff, and this being his first fight back from that?
Maybe that. Okay, yeah, you want to say he was his shoulder? Maybe he should have taken a tune-up fight or something in the interim to get sharp. Maybe. I mean but that was a really good performance by Akhmadaliev, and it's going to be real difficult. Like Roman would need to do something completely different, unless maybe he just needs to be sharper. Maybe he should go in, not take an immediate rematch. Did he have a rematch clause? He did, right?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, I thought so. Maybe he shouldn't exercise because he'll get that in a small weight class. It was a good fight. They'll make it again, right? I mean, maybe take a tune-up fight first, sharpen some things out, make sure the shoulder's good, and then go into a rematch. A year from now, 10 months from now, whatever. But I don't think he should go right into it because I mean, either he's not sharp enough, which is understandable, or he can't beat him as currently constituted, right? He can't beat him like this. So either he needs to change something or he needs to get sharper.
I largely agree with you, Gary. Rob?
Yeah, I was just gonna say the injury and the surgery and the layoff was part of me leaning towards Akhmadaliev in the first place for my pick because I just felt shoulders are tricky, right? They're not something that can be rushed or can't be. Ask George Groves. He tried to come back from shoulder surgery and it just wasn't there. Felt we rushed it.
I had shoulder surgery from high school football. I tried coming back after a year of rehab, and that was still maybe a little bit too soon. Shit's weird. Shoulders are weird.
Yeah, and obviously in boxing they're kind of important, right? So I just felt that might play a part. Whether it did or it didn't, I don't know. Only Danny Roman knows how he felt and whether it was an issue or whether he was just legitimately beaten by a guy that's got his number. Maybe it's just how it is. Only that he knows and his camp knows, I guess. But for me, that was a legitimate reason to lean towards Akhmadaliev. Plus, obviously, what Akhmadaliev brought to the table. But yeah, really good fight as we hoped, and the start of the Uzbekistan invasion, I think, at some point.
There are a lot of good Uzbek prospects out there, man. Don't be surprised if they all of a sudden come crashing into the market in the industry.
Next.
Guys, any other thoughts on Roman Akhmadaliev? If you guys want to jump to Tevin Farmer, Joseph Diaz?
Yeah, go to Tevin.
A fight that I was so close to leaning this way, and I actually, on the previous show, 100% mapped out what happened with this fight. That Tevin Farmer is a guy that really doesn't hold as much as Gary predicted. He's also a guy that we saw with Jonah Carroll, can get pressured, can get outworked on the inside, and now he's facing a far better opponent. And he couldn't adjust. Couldn't adjust competitively to Joseph Diaz, what he was doing from a technical perspective, from a power perspective, from an athletic perspective. I don't give much stock into like, oh, something's wrong with Tevin Farmer narrative. I don't. I'll be honest, especially since there's no real evidence to point that something was wrong with his hand or neurologically speaking. Right now, the signs point to he was fighting a lot of inferior competition. His best opponent in the last, 3 years was Jonah Carroll. And then he fought Joseph Diaz, who is his best opponent since Jose Pedraza. Of course, you're going to maybe not adjust accordingly. When you bad term, or bad phrase or say, but I'm going to use anyways. If you've been fighting bums long enough, you become a bum. Okay, like that's just how kind of it works to a degree. And Tevin Farmer was fighting a lot of guys that were top 50 guys. And then he fought a perennial top 10 opponent, and I think it showed. But guys, thoughts on Joseph Diaz being able to out hustle, manhandle Tevin Farmer on the inside and sort of just outwork him?
I was going to say he fought Ivan Redcash, but then I went and looked up. It was 4 years ago already. I was like, wow. that was kind of the fight with people. Oh, wow, this guy is good. No, I'm not buying. Like, the only thing I would say was he fought, like, when Laura fought Hurt, he just fought the wrong fight. Why did he fight that way? He had in his head that he was going to be bigger and stronger because JoJo comes up from 26. But, like, he wasn't bigger or stronger. Like, he should have got that.
Gary, hold on, Gary.
What the hell?
Your system's messing up, Gary. So refresh your page really fast, Gary. Okay, Rob, you want to jump in here? That's Gary.
Yeah, I'm of the thought that it can be a bit of both, because I don't want to take anything away from Jojo Diaz. Jojo Diaz fought Tevin Farmer how you're supposed to fight Tevin Farmer, how you're supposed to fight a guy like that. But I do think there was something not quite right with Farmer, but I feel had he fought guys that he has been fighting, he might have got away with it. On this occasion, he didn't, because Jojo is a better fighter. And like I say, he done exactly what you're supposed to do to a guy like Tevin Farmer, pressure and really try and put it on the guy. And, that cut, oh my God, that was horrible. We've seen fights stop for less than that, I mean, when we've seen like Fury carry on with and that. So it obviously wasn't too much. When Jojo looked at the screen and, oh my God, that shit's ugly. Like he didn't even.
The Marlon Esparza cut that was like her being scalped, remember, against Nesta.
Yeah. God damn, Buddy Jack, shit like that. But yeah, no. So I do feel something wasn't quite right with Farmer, but on this occasion, it wasn't an opponent that he could get away with it. And I don't want to take anything away from Jojo Diaz, because he executed the perfect game plan. I just wanted to bring up that fight week started to see Farmer talking about moving up. Like only one more fight at this weight, or only a couple more fights at this. And I just tend to think once you start hearing fighters talking about moving up, a lot of times, in my opinion, that's because they're not doing well at making the weight, especially when you hear it fight week, that maybe fight week isn't going quite as well as you planned. But I'm not, like I say, I don't want to take anything away from Jojo Diaz, because he, like I say, got that horrible cut and still came forward, still put it on Tevin just like you're supposed to. So shout out to him. Eddie's mentioned the fact of a rematch. I think they're looking to come back and do that. Did you say like April, May? Like quite a quick, fairly quick turnaround. So yeah, we'll see it again. I don't know if, again, like Roman and Akhmadaliev, can Farmer execute a different game plan to beat Jojo, or is that now Jojo winning a world title is, when you get that extra 10%, I'm a champion now, and you get that extra, like, can Farmer wrestle it back? I don't know, but I'd like to see it again, because I think it could be a good another good fight between the two of them. But yeah, shout out to Jojo Diaz, done his thing.
Gary, thoughts on Joseph Diaz beating Tevin Farmer, and thoughts of Tevin Farmer being off that night for whatever reasons, thoughts on the competition level being all of a sudden better than it used to be. Thoughts?
It's interesting because I want to talk about the competition thing with Andrade, but you're right. And Jojo Diaz fought the fight he needed to fight, and kudos to him. Right, he came up. I thought that cut on his left eye was going to stop the fight early, and he went out like a dog. Mamba mentality, and he rocked the Kobe jersey. Like that was a great show of determination. He was not going to be denied that world title, but I feel like Tevin Farmer cooperated. Like the Farmer was willing to stand in with them, which I thought was obviously a mistake. Like if you would have told me that Tevin was going to stand in with them, like I said, I think Jojo Diaz beats him because I thought that Jono Carroll was real close to beating him. Like maybe arguably did beat him when he was willing to stand in with Jono Carroll. And I mean, there's levels between Jojo Diaz and Jono Carroll, right? So I would kind of lean like I think Tevin Farmer could beat him. Like he has the skills to do it, but he can't do it like that. It's the same like I thought Laura could beat Hurd, but he can't do it like that. He's got to fight a completely different fight. And I don't know, like for whatever reason, Farmer got it in his head that he was going to be bigger and stronger and be able to bully Jojo Diaz around because Diaz was coming up in weight. But you could see in the ring that there wasn't much of it. They're basically the same size. So like, why did you think that? Why would you fight his fight and think that you could bully ball him around? Like I didn't understand that, and it ended up backfiring. I thought the judges got it right. I thought Diaz won, and I thought he won convincingly. It was a good performance, and he was not going to be denied. But I felt like Tevin Farmer cooperated with him too much.
I agree with both of you guys in a lot of ways. You want to jump to the top two fights: Jake Paul defeating Anderson Gibb, whatever that is, and obviously Demetrius Andrade defeating Luke Keeler via 9th round TKO. Rob, thoughts on any of those fights?
No, Andrade done his thing. Some people maybe think he should have done it a little sooner. I think he started looking for it once he hurt him in the was it the second round, got the stop. I think he went looking for it instead of letting it just flow like he can and put his shots together nicely. He started getting a little bit wild and trying to get him out of there. But Keeler was there for the taking. I get it. Brave performance, but the levels were on display quite clearly. But yeah, Andre goes on. We're going to get to it, I think, in the topics, but called out Saunders in the ring. Shout out to Chris Mannix pounding that drum, trying to get the Charlo fight, but he's on every one of his podcasts wanting the Charlo. I don't understand why Charlo doesn't take the money. It's the biggest money and stuff like that. But we've obviously covered that ground. But and he's right, it kind of makes sense. But there's other fights within their own stable that can be made, hopefully. So,
and of course, Chris Mannix is the one banging that drum. That why isn't Charlo doing this?
Yeah. So, Andrade, I predicted a ball fest 12-round thing. He got the stoppage. Fair enough. So he did one part of what we want him to do. Look.
So harsh.
No, you know what I mean. That's been the criticism of Andrade, right? He's happy to go decision. He's happy to use his skills, not hitting, not get hit. Don't pressure. Don't go looking for it. You're not going to visit me in the hospital, because I'm trying to, get a guy out of there and take unnecessary risks. He didn't have to take risks necessarily to do that to Keeler. So that sounded like I said tequila, but to Keeler. Yeah, so he done his thing, but yeah, it was expected. But yeah, happy he called out someone else other than Canelo and Triple G. It's like he's finally got the message that.
Before I jump to Gary, I mean, I'll put this right. I'm far more positive about Andrade's performance because he did improve. Like he did turn the corner. Because it's been 5-10 fights now of Andrade of just bad, boring decision after bad, boring decision, and clearly he's heard the criticism. And he came out with a flying Superman punch to knock down Luke Keeler in the first round. I mean, come on. I mean, I have to give him a lot of props here for turning that corner. Gary, are you still critical of Andrade as Rob is, in my opinion, or are you throwing him his praises more as I am?
I have some thoughts on it. I don't know what my conclusion is, right? Like, Luke Keeler looked awful. Like, he looked absolutely terrible. Luke Keeler's not that bad. I mean, he's not that great, but he's not that bad either. He beat Aries. Like, he's a good fighter. Like, is he world class? Maybe not. But, like, he looked like an amateur, and he looked like your dad beating up his little son, and like, that looked ridiculous. Like, he's not that bad. So, like, I have no idea what his game plan was, right? Like, his fight approach, his approach to the fight made no sense. And look, Andrade did his thing. But, like,
levels, Gary, levels.
Dude, Gary's like being positive and ranting at the same time. This is
it's like a positive rant.
Ranting right here, Gary. You're potting right now. Way to go.
Andrade did his thing. I can't criticize Andrade's performance, but the thing I would say was he hurt him in the first, nearly took his head off in the second, and it still took him 7 more rounds to get him out. So it was 8 or 9. It was 9th, right? 9th round? 9th. It was 7 more rounds after he took his head off in the second round to get him out. He's not a good finisher. He hasn't improved there, but he was more aggressive. He did things, but like Keeler just looked so out of his league and so outclassed and so terrible. Like, I was expecting Keeler to be able to do some things the way Salisky did some things. Like, he's not going to be winning the fight, but he'll be able to put some combinations together, do some work, and make Andrade think. He never did. That was
it was one-way traffic.
The entire way, and Keeler's better than that. Now, like, maybe it's Andrade, right? Like, maybe Andrade's so good that he can pick up the aggression and still make you look like that. But it's hard for me to believe that was Keeler's fighting on his A game. Like, Keeler, he's better. Keeler's better than that. That's all I'm saying.
Yes and no. I mean, I see what you're saying, Gary. I think that's largely up to how Andrade looked, and on top of it, yes, Andrade still took him 9 rounds to finish that Luke Keeler. But like you said, he's not a finisher. He's not a knockout artist. But our criticism is that when he's facing lower level competition, you can up the pressure. You don't need to rely on your skills when you're outclassing a guy 120, 109. And he could have done that with Luke Keeler, and he didn't. He decided to fight atypical. He decided to fight on the front foot and largely be an off-balance, aggressive fighter. And while that's not his forte, that he didn't look that skilled doing it, he did it knowing, if I go 12 rounds being a defensive guy with Luke Keeler, I'm going to get way more shit than if I'm off-balance throwing these heavy shots. And he's right. And I think long-term, when he's taking these sort of off fights in a way, these tune-ups to a degree, he has to be more aggressive. Okay, there's a reason why we criticize Jamal Charlo for going 10 rounds or 11 rounds with Brandon Adams, right? Like, there's a reason we criticize certain guys going the distance or going late with certain competition. Now, I'm not expecting Andrade to come out there and be a finisher against Charlo or Triple G or even Munguia, but what I'm expecting now going forward is that he's listening to the public, he's listening to the media more. He's more self-aware of his own limitations and flaws and criticisms, and he's adjusting accordingly. That's what you need to do to sort of, in my opinion, jump from being a B-plus fighter to an A-level fighter. You need to be able to hear all that criticisms from very smart people, take it in, and adjust. And Andrade, for 10 years, has not done that. He did it on Thursday night. Props to him.
I mean, Jamal would have stopped Keeler inside a round, right?
Don't get me fucking started on that.
Shout out to Twitter, revving people up.
And those guys at Sunday Puncher, man, some of them are very smart, man, but some of them are just PBC fans deep down their heart. Just like Rob, to a degree, is deep down in his heart a Matchroom fan. I know it. There's a reason he shits on Frank Warren. I know, Rob. And Gary is obviously a fanboy and waving the Texas flag over everything. You know, like, I get it. But come on. When you're put down to the mat, you can't double down and say, it's not a big deal. You're splitting hairs here. Charlo could have knocked him out in 1 round, maybe. Fuck out of here.
Guys, Charlo get rid of Brandon Cannon Adams, what he was trying to, right? Like, I don't know. Is there much difference between Cannon Adams and Luke Keeler? Keeler's better resume-wise. And Jamal Charlo, who's a puncher, who is a knockout artist, couldn't get rid of Brandon Adams.
Did Luke Keeler win a TV show?
Hold on. Some jackass also said that Jamal Charlo can knock him out 1 round as well.
It was the same one, wasn't it?
The same one, yes.
Yeah.
I just don't want to give him any publicity in terms of names.
I just wanted you to clarify it was the same jackass.
Yes, but then the other groups of jackasses decided to then defend that jackass and that jackassy statement.
Even though the jackass statement then got backtracked on and twisted
instantaneously. Sound like Corey Kota lasted 5 rounds.
Yeah.
Oh,
Kota didn't last 5 rounds, did he?
Was it 5 or 3?
I don't know. It was quick.
Right,
I we had a power my DirecTV went out. And
Hogan went.
It went out right when Jamel was walking into the ring, and then
it was less than 6 for sure, but I don't know.
It was like 3, I think. It was 3.
Regardless, it was not the first round.
No.
Not the first.
Stop. Get out of here.
But yeah, I think Jake Paul would have got him out of there in a round.
We're moving on. It's Ugas defeating Mike Dallas Jr. in the 7th round. I mean, look, he just bullied him around, won every round, landed everything he wanted. Like the issue of Yordenis Ugas not cutting off the ring will always be there, I think, because he just doesn't cut off the ring the way I want him to. But he makes up for that by being a bruiser and such an aggressive fighter. I do wish he would throw a little more in combination and lower down the power and up the speed. But digressing, Ugas got Mike Dallas out of there in relatively easy fashion because we all expected that. And he's levels and levels above Mike Dallas. Guys, any thoughts on this fight? And also just to bring up the undercard, so I know Gary can jump in there as well. Omar Juarez defeating Angel Martinez Hernandez via unanimous decision. I thought he showed some cardio issues and a lack of combination work and a lack of working behind the jab. Raymond Guardo losing to Clay Collard via TKO in the 2nd round. That was a hell of a back and forth fight. That was arguably round of the year in that 1st round. I think both guys were knocked down 3 or 4 times. BoxRec hasn't updated yet. So go back and watch that fight if you haven't yet. And I'm pretty sure they put the 1st round on social media already. So if you want to go like PBC on Fox's Twitter account or something like that, they have the 1st round up. And that's all you need to see to be entertained. And who else got some wins? Dion Nicholson got a win. Michael Rivera picked up a win as well. And that's the only fights that I saw. Gary, I know since you were there, thoughts on the card itself, thoughts on the environment, the people there. Was it packed house? Was it sold out crowd?
No,
it wasn't.
It was not.
It was bad.
Although Aroldis Chapman, World Series hero and current New York Yankee, Aroldis Chapman was there, and I got to meet him. He doesn't speak any English really.
Ugas bringing him out,
but he was there, and he was massive. Like he looks big on TV, and then when you see him, he looks like a linebacker size. Looks like a tight end or an NFL linebacker. Like he's massive.
The dude's like 6'7".
Is he as big as Thurman?
We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. Don't worry. We're gonna get to that.
Big.
Pause.
No,
and I thought you didn't even like Thurman.
we'll get to that. The crowd was probably the capacity was probably we guessed about 1,500, 2,000 absolute tops, and it was about half full. So maybe there was 1,000 people in the crowd.
How many comps?
It's a casino, so most of them are comps.
Yeah,
they're making the money off the site fee, not by the ticket sales, unfortunately.
But I thought Ugas' performance was a sparring session where he beat him up. You know, it was my only concern was the scorecard where Diaz, how do you say his name? JD's had it.
Wilder's trainer.
4 rounds to 3. He scored 3 rounds, including the 1st round for Mike Dallas. Now I don't know what that is, but they can't ever have him scoring fights again. It's not like the guy doesn't know anything about boxing, right? So you can't say he didn't know what he's talking about. You can't have, I don't know what that was, but that's never allowed to happen again. He scored the 1st round for Mike Dallas.
There's not a single round you can give to Mike Dallas.
Not one. I mean, it was ridiculous.
I know it happens, but it's I don't know. Something not right about a trainer judging a fight.
Rob, there's so much not right with judging in terms of announcers and their wives are judges, or their daughters, or their sons, or their cousins, or how many gosh, I'm trying to remember all the names right now. There's a bunch of judges that are related to each other. Nepotism's huge, man. It's such a ancestral sport in a way, unfortunately. It is like it is like that's look. It is like the same people.
Like actual incest.
No, not like that. But metaphorically speaking, like the people that you see as trainers, managers, promoters, etc., they all have a very active role through the regulation of the sport because their family members are involved in the regulation of the sport. You know, like that's like
so more like nepotism, not
Dave and Carl Moretti, for example. You know, Carl Moretti, the CEO of Top Rank. What's his official title?
Oh, which one? DeBuff. I don't know which one is CEO. Which one's I don't know.
I don't know. Dave Moretti is a judge and a ref,
and an awful one, by the way.
The other one's the official franchise champion protester or campaigher.
Oh, he's the one. Not protester. Yeah. He loves them. Yeah. We asked for them. That's what he said.
We got what we wanted.
But regardless, back to your point, Rob. Yeah, it's and to Gary, like, yeah, that like JD's like he shouldn't be judging and
shouldn't be training Wilder.
He should be. But that's not just a him issue. Like that's a sport-wide issue with
that
are crossed over with in terms of conflict of interest when the regulation side and the business side of the sport, and those two should never mix, and they do all the time. But back to the fights at hand. Let's move a little bit off the Ugas fight, unless Robert wants to jump in. Because let's be honest, Ugas won every round. He beat Mike Dallas Jr. There's a tune-up. It should have been Danny Garcia, Yordenis, Ugas this quarter. It wasn't. Oh well. But Gary, Omar Ware, do you really think he looked that great to you? I mean,
yeah, I thought his skills. I mean, I could see it. Like, look, he's had 10 fights, 8 fights, 7 fights, 7 fights, 8 fights,
7 fights now.
7 fights.
5, 4, 3, 2.
One of the numbers, right? He fought a guy who was good.
So many of them.
Like he fought a guy who'd been in there with Lucas Matisse, Marcos Maidana. The guy on BoxRec is not who he fought. Same name, different guy, right? The guy I had on BoxRec was 10-1. The guy he fought was like 18-17. I don't know if they fixed that yet. Same name. They put the wrong guy in there. Yeah.
You haven't fixed it.
Whoever took that loss, who didn't lose, is not happy about that. Right. So it was a good step up fight for him. You know, a guy who's been in with future world champions. I thought he did what he had to do. Like his skills look good. Again, there are things you can fix. Matt said he doesn't work behind the jab enough. He tries to set up his power too much and then load up on power shots, but he's not a power puncher. He can get guys out, but it's not going to be with one shot. You know what I'm saying?
Let me correct you right there because I think you misspoke. He doesn't set up his shots. Enough. You said he does. He sets up his shots too much, and I was like, no.
He doesn't set up his shot. He doesn't set up his shots enough, and then he tries to load up on a right hand.
Yes.
There's things he's got to fine tune for sure. He's not ready to go fight the top 135, 140 pounds in the world yet, but he's only had 7 fights. I think his skills, his athleticism, his speed, it's all there. It's just a matter of going through the process and going and taking. It's like saying, is the best single A hitter in baseball ready for the major leagues? No, guys, relax. He's 20. He's got time. He'll grow. And like, can this version of Omar Wars be a world champion and knock out Ramirez? No, but like we're not there yet. You know what I'm saying?
Where do you think is that?
I think 7 fights into his career. I think he's 2-3 years away at least. Easy.
I'm not talking about world championship. I'm talking about like, do you see him fighting? God, hold on. Let me pull up rankings really fast. Because I have him up, so I can do that. I did that for this reason. Look, I'll be honest. While I did have criticism of his performance, I thought he looked very good, and he still looks very good. I think he can take a massive step up if he wants. Like, is it Cletus Selden out of the question?
He would have to be careful. Cletus can crack, right? I mean, he should be able to outbox Cletus Selden, right? You would think, but he'd have to be really careful. He'd have to use his jab way more than he'd have to fight better to beat a guy like Cletus Selden than he fought last night.
Argenis Mendez.
I mean, again, it's hard to rate these prospects.
It's not like saying that you would rate him above them. Would you want to see him in that level of fight now, or do you still think he's maybe a year from that?
I'd say he's a year from that.
Okay. I understand. Any thoughts on your man Ray Guardo losing via dramatic TKO?
It was
also I had an interesting interaction with either his cousin, his brother, or his dad on social media, by the way. Very interesting interaction.
They listen to the show because I know Ray.
They're not going to listen to the show anymore.
I don't know what was said.
Well, whoever he was, Michael Gerardo, I don't know who that in relation to homie Ray is, but obviously related to him. He said that the fight was fixed. Like, come on, man. Like, let's not do this corny shit right now. And he was like, it was just a joke. And I'm like, okay, sure, man. Whatever. But digressing. I like Ray. I thought he looked good. I think he was just way too aggressive, has chin way too high up. Just things he needs to work on. Very young.
Yeah, I said, I talked about him before because I said he's the better prospect than Joey Spencer. I still stand. Joey Spencer's never going to be a world champion unless they hand him a belt. He's not good. Like, look, Ray Guajardo is still raw. Like I said, that he only had like 20 or 30 amateur fights, and then he got his first knockout on a card in San Antonio, and he got signed right out of that because he like knocked the kid's head off on a Roy Jones card, and it was like, whoa, who's this kid? He was supposed to lose, right? And he comes in and he knocks the guy out of nowhere. There is so much growth for that kid, but the size, like you look at him, he's 19. He's built like he's 28 years old. He's built like a grown man already, right? Like it's gonna be steps and it's gonna be process. It's gonna be a process. If you look at the guy who Clay Collins fought, they're all like undefeated guys and prospects. Like they wanted to see what they had in here and they wanted to move him up quickly because he's so electric. But he's got a lot to learn. He'll be back. Like this will not be the last time you heard Ray Guajardo's name. It may be for the near future because he's only 19, but he will be back. Like they need to teach him how to fight, right? They need to teach him. Like I'm not trying to sound funny. Like you have a guy who throws 100 miles an hour fastball, you have to teach him how to pitch. Like he can throw a fastball, but now he has to learn how to pitch. Ray Guajardo's got to do that. Look, the kid's really tall, really long. Like why not use that? Why not use that to your advantage? It's a process. He's 19. I promise you, Ray Guajardo, you will hear that name again. This was not. You will see him again in meaningful fights years from now.
Also, I'm going to bring up Alonga Makabu defeating Michael Cizelek in Democratic Republic of Congo this weekend as well to pick up, was it the WBO title?
WBC
cruiserweight title.
I think. Yeah, it was. Yeah, because this was.
I just checked, yeah.
The one they pulled away from the World Boxing Super Series. Right?